Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning, Dirk. Morning, Cindy.
Hey.
Morning, Diane.
Morning, Dirk.
Hey, Yondella, how you doing, boy?
Very well, man. How are you?
Good. Whereabouts are you today?
I'm in Joburg.
Oh, wow. What you doing there?
Same thing that I do every day, just hunting.
Oh, I thought you lived in the Eastern Cape.
I do. I got some clients this side, so
Okay.
I've got a couple of client meetings. But this is
Okay.
important, so why not try?
Yeah, good. This transcript works pretty well. Morning, Brian. Morning, Cherise.
Okay.
Hi, Dirk. How are you?
I'm good, and yourself? How's Cape Town this morning?
Freezing.
For me.
Yes. No, it's raining cats and dogs. Yeah.
It's winter.
Yeah. It's coming here
winter.
tomorrow because meant to be playing golf, but yeah, it's not looking very promising. So. Okay, I think just wait a few more minutes. Diane, whereabouts are you? Morning, Mal.
I'm in Pretoria side, Dirk. Gauteng.
Okay.
Close to
Okay.
Yondella, yes.
Sure.
But it's sunny. It's almost 30 degrees today. So, yeah, no
Oh,
rain.
lovely. Good. Ready for the rugby? There's rugby, Diane. There's rugby against the All Blacks on Saturday. You should know. You should be a blue bull.
Well, we're trying to get. No, thank you. I'm actually a cheater, but I don't say it out loud. They don't even feature. But yeah, we're trying to get a table booked, but it's chaos in town. Yeah, it's fully booked all around. So the tickets are also sold out.
Okay. Well, the Free State and the Eastern Cape are where all the great rugby players come from, but they end up where the money is, which is in Joburg and Pretoria and Cape Town.
Cape Town, yeah.
And Natal, yeah. Yeah, someone's in a storm.
Yeah, I managed to get tickets to the Cape Town test against the All Blacks. Woohoo!
Me too.
Are you there, Dirk?
I'm going. Yeah, I wasn't sure,
Huh.
and a mate organized tickets, and then I messaged him to say I wasn't going to come, and then he reminded me the effort he went to get them. He actually got them from the All Blacks. So so we're going to go. We'll drive up on Friday. Yeah, drive back on Sunday.
Nice. Maybe we can meet up in person. Say hello if you're around in the same area on the match day or whatever. I'll try and hook up with you.
No, definitely. Be good fun.
If you're not too busy with your real friends.
I've got lots of friends. Don't worry. Everyone's my friend.
Except the All Blacks, eh?
Except the All Blacks, yeah. Okay, guys, I think we can start. This has been going for quite a while now, this group, so it gets difficult to come up with, ideas of what we can chat about. So I'm always open to them, guys, if there's anything that you feel is important to you. But I just thought, obviously, because there's quite a mix on the group. We've got people who've been doing this a long time and people who've been doing this a short time. We've got people who are in their own businesses. We've got people who are with corporates. So we've got a real mix here. I think it's great. We've got a real mix of what the real industry looks like. So, as I said in my message, I mean, one thing about the group is that it is a safe place. That's really why one of the reasons I started it, so that there are no stupid questions. There are, there's just, it's a place where we can all learn from each other and be a little bit vulnerable if we need to be. So I thought it's just a good thing to chat about today, because I'm not going to say anything because I've been here just too long, but I know, and I don't necessarily think we need to know your whole story like from the start, but I think what we're trying to look at is maybe that very quickly. Mel, I'm going to pick on you. Brian, I'm going to pick on you. Cindy as well. And if anyone, but I'm going to pick on you guys specifically. And then also, just to chat about things that we've all tried, things that have worked, things that haven't worked. And as I said, we're all at different stages of our growth and our development. I don't believe we ever stop growing. If we do, that's a red flag. But I think just to share, and then also, open it up to everyone. Anything that you're battling with. Obviously, the biggest thing is finding clients. That's always really difficult. But how we, things that we've perhaps tried, things that are working, things that are not working. Sometimes we do things on purpose, and they don't work, and then we do things just by the by, and they do work. So I think just that we can all learn from each other. I think every region is different. It's different whether you're in a private business or you're in a corporate business with a big brand behind you. So yeah, Mel, can I pick on you, because I know you've been doing this a long time. I think you have different roles within the industry. I know we don't like to call it that, but we're professionals, but it is an industry, and not all people in the industry are professionals, unfortunately. So yeah, Mel.
So what was the question?
I think, Mel, if you can just give the group a brief rundown of kind of your history, how you started, how you got into the industry, and then kind of the various businesses you've been in, the various roles you've been in, and then to get to where you are now, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and even the different things that you've tried.
So okay, so I also sort of fell into the industry by default. I was involved with, funny enough, about 30 years ago, I was working for ABSA, but on the IT side, because I studied IT first. And I was working with all their brokers, but they had this, or I don't know if anybody's an ex-bank broker, they had this amazing commission tracking system, and we used to have this system. So that sort of was my introduction to to the broker industry. And then I was part of Celestis Group, which I don't know who, there's so many young people on here, I don't even think they would know, but I think Cindy might. Dirk, I don't know if you would remember Celestis Group. Yeah, so I was actually part of the first 4 people that were employed with Celestis Group in South Africa. It was an initiative of Old Mutual, for those who don't know. And they put, I think June's on here, hey? I think June would remember. But yeah, the older planners will remember. So yeah, they basically, it was really actually a nice intro for me into the industry, but we basically brought in compliance. Old Mutual put 20 million into this company, and we literally, it was the first introduction for us into practice management. We didn't know what we were doing. We were literally just going along and working in advisor practices, broker practices, literally developing this model. Lots of templates, we even had our own software, which was a disaster. And that was sort of my intro. Fast forward 5 years later, they literally, like only corporates can do, took all our templates and everything that we'd done over 5 years and launched Masthead behind our backs. And I went from being my own boss to an admin manager being my boss, or mutual admin manager being my boss. And every single template we designed in 5 years was now Masthead branded. So, you've got to see the opportunity in everything. I used that opportunity to leave. And we actually were, myself and 2 compliance officers, before we left. We made a lot of money. This is recorded. Hey, you can delete this part. But anyway, we did make a lot of money because Old Mutual used the three of us compliance officers. They literally split. If you are with Masthead, I've just resigned from Masthead, but they are a good company. But yeah, they've got a lot of brokers.
Mel, relax. I'm only going to share this.
They've got a lot of brokers. Okay,
they've got a lot of brokers with the group,
so
don't worry. I've never seen you concerned about upsetting anyone, so this is a first for me.
Dirk. Yeah, so it was actually quite nice because they literally split the broker industry into between the three of us, and they paid us per broker to license every single broker. We made a crap load of money, and that was my exit points. I started a consulting company, consulting to advisors, brokerages, and basically on a modular base. And the thing that I did differently with my model and my consulting company to advisors was that I would actually do the implementation for them, where Masthead would give you templates and leave. So that I ran for about 2 years. It was very successful. And then the one brokerage I was involved in, quite a big brokerage, the owner of the brokerage actually said to me, I should do this for myself because I'm literally basically what we were doing is teaching these people how to do proper financial planning, not real financial planning, proper financial planning, like not selling off a policy schedule. Also, there's nothing wrong with that because that's how they learned. That is how they grew up in this industry. So yeah, just trying to migrate them. And this guy actually just said to me, I'm literally like doing all the planning. I'm preparing the file. I'm doing everything. And I'm sending the guys off and they're coming back with a closed deal. So yeah, I was quite scared to start because I'd rather die 1,000 deaths than try and sell anything to anybody. And so I started with them. It was in 2005. I actually joined them in their brokerage as a partner, and it was absolutely disastrous. We had a horrible partnership split, and yeah, we'd set up a new company and they were still putting business through their own brokerages. And I ended up actually, they wanted to liquidate the company, and I'm a single mom. So literally that was all I had. And so, yeah, I actually ended up fighting for the license, and literally they left me with all the debts in the company. So for the first 3 years that I was in this industry, I robbed Peter to pay Paul. I probably had about 7 credit cards, paying this, paying that, paying staff. It was horrible, but you know what? I had to do it for the license. And I've never, ever looked back. I've used that partnership split as an opportunity as well. I specialized in business assurance. I still do. And I've got like first-hand experience of a partnership that's gone pear-shaped. And yeah, so I've sort of had different roles in the industry, and it's not easy. It's a hard industry to be in. It's hard running your own business. It's just everybody thinks it's so glamorous. It actually isn't. There's many days I want to resign and I can't. And yeah, I think things that I find very, very challenging for me is staff. I've just had another staff member leave that I've trained up and spent a lot of money on for 2.5 years. So that I really, really battle with. And I think as a woman, I think it's easier for women to take things personally because we're wired like that. Sorry, guys, I'm in the middle of moving, just by the way. I had to delay my move. I just want to open the gates for somebody so they don't carry on ringing me. So, yeah, I just find that, you've almost got to step aside and take the emotions out of it and say, this is not aimed at me, and it's not, you can't take things personally. You've just got to put your business hat on and just say, how can we move on and get over whatever the challenges are and just embrace the challenges. So that's, yeah, I don't know if it comes with age, when you hit 50 and you just start embracing things and don't sweat the small stuff. So I've tried to do that. And I think also something else that I've also found very challenging is social media, WhatsApps is actually like shutting out the noise. So I've become really more disciplined in myself in terms of when I get to the office, shutting out that email that comes in every second and that WhatsApp, because I'm sure you're all battling with clients WhatsApping you now as well and wanting an instantaneous answer. So I've learned to just manage challenges that take my focus and actually rob my productivity. So and it's just actually shutting out, just blocking out the noise. And so it's really, for me, the challenges have been staff, have been just shutting out the noise. And I think the compliance has overwhelmed me. Like it just overwhelms me. And even yesterday I was sitting with my new compliance people and going through and you just, I think in a moment you can sit there and you just think, like, do I actually need this? Like in that moment you just think, why don't I just join another network or join a network or go and join a big corporate, and I think, I'm sure many of you are probably having the same thoughts, because you just think, do I need to deal with all this crap? But then I think I go back to my purpose and what I stand for in this industry, and I fiercely protect my independence. That is why people come to us, because we are independent, because we can give unbiased advice, and because we can offer them something differently. I think when you're with a corporate or with a network offering, they streamline their processes. It's literally every single client is boxed into one box. And I think we've got to be careful of that, because, look, I've got a huge issue with the schooling system as it is, because they take every single child and put it into the same box. And I think we've got to be careful of that too, of not letting the compliance, I think, embed the compliance in your practice, but not letting the compliance try and box our clients in. And not have this tick box approach of we'll tick a client advice record, let's see how simple we can get that done. I think customization and personalization is our cutting edge, and it's what is going to keep a client with us, because they're not getting pulled through the sausage factory of, what every plan we print out or pull out there, or, we're not chasing targets. So I think, just for me, it's just things that I've learned now. It's just that personal touch, leaving the client with a different experience, and I think at the end of the day, we're here to change people's lives, but change them in a way that they're leaving having peace of mind that they might not make it in retirement, or they might not, have enough money to live in retirement, but and other things like risk and all of that. I'm just from a holistic point of view, but I think that their peace of mind is, and it's just comments that I've heard from my clients, the peace of mind is we're doing things differently. I also use IWP, the lifestyle planning, and I've tweaked it, and I've added a whole lot of other things onto it. But I think the fact that they are walking away and you're an accountability partner to them, you're walking this journey with them, they're not feeling so lonely, and you're managing their behavior. And I think that is what is our cutting edge, being independent advisors. And please, I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know if anybody is part of a network and when I say networks, I'm talking about these, like a Liberty Agency and Discovery Network and, Old Mutual. So I'm not talking about somebody who's part of a big brokerage or anything like that. And I'm not being disrespectful to those. There's a place for everybody in this industry. So trust me, I find this time in this industry exceptionally challenging. And I've also got a whole lot of personal things that I'm dealing with as well. So it's also, you've got to separate the personal and focus on, this business. And that's also very hard. You've almost got to be like a man and compartmentalize things, and deal with that and deal with that. And with all due respect to the guys on here, there are some advantages that you do have. You're more rational than us women. So it's something we can learn from you. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks for sharing. I love that you speak about your passion, because a lot of people but don't. And I think in business, it really is important, makes a big difference. If you do have a passion, and yours is clearly, obviously, you know, helping people and all of that. Not once did you mention making piles of money, which I know kind of we all would like to do, but that's not your driving force, which I think is great.
But it comes with a passion.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we as guys, we can be emotional as well. Okay, like we try and be macho, but I promise you, when clients say no or we lose clients, we take it just as personally as you girls do. But at the same time, I know this is it's a male industry, and you know, when you go to conferences, unfortunately, most of the ladies are in different roles, not necessarily directly client facing. And I think that is something that has to change. It is changing, which is really great to see. So, because I think you guys, as much as your kind of EQ can work against you, I think it works for you as well. So yeah. Mel, you never said anything about battling to get clients. I mean, I think the compliance thing, like we all get that. I think, you know, at some points it's maybe easier if you like a smaller business on your own, and the bigger you get, it just becomes, you know, it becomes more and more scary. Although it's even scary for individuals. But I mean, when you started off and then you left that partnership, you said you specialized in business insurance. Was there anything that you did that you look back and you thought, okay, well, that was kind of a marketing ploy that I did consciously or subconsciously that got you in, and that people saw you as someone who specialized in business assurance? Because obviously, that if you look back at it, it's kind of a niche which opens doors to actually then dealing with individual clients.
So I remember, can't remember the lecturer's name. He's passed away, Marius Werther. He is dead, hey? Yes. Just checking if I've got the right person. Can you hear me? They're busy.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
So I remember in one of my lectures, those are the days when we still had lectures for CFP. I remember Marius Werther saying something to me, and I'll never ever forget it to this day. He said, "You will know your work when you can sit in front of a client and you can have another broker next to you and you can quote the section of the act, and that is what's going to win your client." And I've never forgotten that. And so when I started with clients or seeing clients, you know, from a compliance point of view, helping these brokers, they passed on a few clients to me that they didn't want. But what I did is, just as an opportunity for those who are looking for clients, what I did do is, you know, the clients have maybe got one or two policies, and I didn't go in there saying to them, "I want to look at your policies," or "let's see how much insurance you need," or anything like that. Because trust me, I can't even sell. I cannot sell. I even bought books and CDs and DVDs from overseas on how to sell. And what I did was differently is I thought, okay, let me go in a different angle and I'd say, let's look at how compliant, you know, your risk situation is. You know, what happens if you die, rather, in terms of not for your beneficiaries, but in terms of your estate. So I went in with a different perspective, you know, because people are used to, I mean, we all know that. I mean, I even hate sometimes seeing a client and, you know, and they're like, "Oh, just don't sell." Or you tell somebody at a brow, "What do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, no, just don't sell me a policy," you know. So I think I was just looking at it from a different perspective, and slowly but surely, you know, I would start giving them reports on, okay, but, you know, in terms of the Estate Duty Act, I'd literally sit with them and say, "But section that and that of the Act, you've got a key man policy already. But in terms of the Act, do you understand that this is what's going to happen if you die in your estate?" So I think for me, knowledge is power. And what I was presenting back to them wasn't a policy schedule or a quote or something else. You know, that comes. So I always tell clients that we've got this puzzle and it's a whole lot of pieces, 1,000 pieces, some are 500, some are 200 pieces. And what we do as a financial advisor or, as a financial planner is the client sees all the pieces of the puzzle. And you can even make it visual for them. And I mean, I've got a puzzle in my office and I actually take it out and I say, this is what your life looks like right now. And it's a whole lot of puzzles pieces. But as the advisor, we're going to show you what this picture looks like. And we know where the pieces fit and how they fit. Yes, they could maybe put the pieces of the puzzle together, but it's going to take them much longer because we all know how long it takes to put a puzzle together. So I try and always visualize and use visual things to help them. So I went in, and I still do today, I'll always go in from a knowledge point of view rather. Secondly, I have never ever actually looked for a client. Every single client I have got to this day has been referred to me. I'm very, very particular and very strict in terms of and I know a lot of you also work this way. If I do get a client referral, I mean, I've had 9 clients waiting for me since June. They did not want me to refer them out. And, and that's that's where I am today. And the fact that they've waited, but I also offer something differently. And the client I saw last week, she said she actually interviewed 4 different advisors. And she was stuck on me. And she said she was stuck on me because of the process that I follow. And she'd obviously, I don't know where she got my name from, but, so you've got to offer something differently. You cannot go to a client or let a client come to you. And I don't even speak about, I mean, a client came to me last week, she had bought this whole big pack of all of, I said, I don't want to see anything. I said, I'm not, my first consult is not to advise you, and I charged her for the first consult. I said, I'm not here to advise you. I need to know about you. I need to know if we are fit. And then I tell them, and I show them what I can and how I work. So some of you know that I do quite a lot of financial coaching, psychology of money coaching. So I've got a whole, I did a whole course in ontological coaching. And that is like really, really an amazing coaching program if any of you want to experience it. They actually run 3-day courses in Joburg and in Cape Town. It'll change your life. But I've brought that into my coaching program, and I actually show them that this is sort of the way we're going to look at things. And it resonates with them because it deals with their whole life. And then you can actually map that back to IWP, because IWP is a picture of their whole life. So, yeah, I have never looked for a client. I do go in with things differently. I remember one of my consultants went to see a client, and they arrived at the client, and my client file, my client folder file was on the client's desk. And she said when she saw my file there, she just thought, no, this is not going to happen. This is just not going to happen. And she said, and the broker she was with was talking about returns, and he was talking about, what returns are you getting on your investments and all of that. And the client turned around and said, is that all you're going to give me differently? What else can you give me? And the guy just looked. But my consultant said when she walked in there and saw my file, she just knew this guy's not going to get anywhere with this client. So I think you've got to find different ways to do things. You've got to find different ways of presenting things. The clients will come. That's what I'm saying. If you're so passionate about things, you've got to, I think your message, social media message has got to be something different. It's got to be, I mean, some of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll see I don't sell any products on Instagram or on LinkedIn. I do, a lot of the stuff that I do is it's to provoke thoughts and to provoke responses and get people thinking. So I do get a lot of business from my social media, from my articles that I do. And also I do a lot of workshops. I did a high tea this weekend. So I do give up some of my spare time. I do a lot of pro bono workshops to underprivileged people. I run my psychology of money workshop for them. So I think you've also got to give back, because I don't know, I believe it's in the giving that you receive. But I think just do what you do best, and don't try and go in there and be everything to them. You know, we're not a tax consultant, we're not a lawyer, we're not an accountant, we're not a trustee. But then rather find a way to work with, so we work with their trustees, with their accountants, with their auditors, and that. But you can't be everything to everybody. Just do what you can do and do it well, and with passion and purpose, because I think you've got to be the example to your clients that they want to see.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. I think what struck me there is maybe unknown to you at the time, but because you went in and said, well, you know, instead of what's someone going to inherit, like what's actually going to happen to your estate, it's a completely, because it's about that person. And people, you know, like, you know, when people are dead, they're dead. So they're not that they're not worried about who gets the proceeds. But when you talk about the estate in the way that you did, it's obviously directly related to them. So I would imagine that would have got their interest. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I think one thing I've learned too is that, you know, if you really are passionate, eventually that will shine through. And you've got to find there'll always be a part of what we do that resonates more with us, probably because of a personal experience that we've been through or that we've witnessed. So, yeah. But I think thanks for sharing that. It is tough, and that we keep on going. Is there anyone else who wants to share? Thanks, Mel. Share anything that has worked for them. Any epic failures? I think it's you know, we got to be able to learn from all of these things. Am I going to have to pick on somebody? Andre, are you there?
I am.
Okay. No, I can't see because your camera's not on.
Yeah, and I don't want you to see my storm outfit I'm wearing again.
Can I perhaps pose a question, and maybe just
Sure.
to change the conversation? I mean, my biggest challenge is staff and millennials, and keeping these staff. And I mean, my staff member literally left for 5,000 Rand more, but she's traveling another 40 Ks. I mean, it just doesn't make any comprehension to me. It doesn't comprehend in my brain. But what's, I mean, who's having issues with staff? Maybe with millennials, or, you know, I've got another lady who's worked for me. She's my age, but she's so loyal, and she's been there for 10 years. You know, I mean, I don't, who's battling with staff? Is it a thing in our industry? Because I'm also battling to find somebody, another person.
Anyone want to comment on that? I think
so should I take it that everybody's got the perfect staff complement?
No, I think Mel,
Brian,
it is a challenge, and I think you know, when we bring the whole millennial thing into it, it obviously touches a lot of nerves. It's like me speaking to any of our 5 kids. You know, they kind of look at me like, there we go again, you know. How? And I actually read an article on it the other day. In fact, it's actually in the St. Francis today, because I did a bit of research. When I was recently in Botswana, I make my wife listen to endless podcasts, 5,000 kilometers worth of podcasts. And one was an Aussie, and he spoke about the fact that 30 years ago, the cost of an average house in Australia was 2 times annual salary, and now it's 10 times annual salary. So it really struck me, you know, because so what I did is I did some research here, and interesting, in SA, 30 years ago in 94, it was 2.5 times annual salary, your average annual salary, your average house. Today it's 4.5 times. So it's not as bad as Aussie, and obviously there are different regions in South Africa and housing will. But what it said to me, and then when I started doing more research, looking at other things, if you consider like a basic, like me and my 4 siblings were all born in a provincial hospital. You know, there weren't really private hospitals. I think there was the nuns ran, you know, like a maternity clinic or whatever. So medical aid wasn't even a thing in those days, and then it kind of became a thing. And today we probably have more discussions with clients around the cost of medical aid than I've ever in 30 years. So that's, and then we've got all these haves that we can't live without, like smartphones and subscriptions to Apple Music and all kinds of other things. So the reality for me was that I'm going off subject a bit here, but the reality is that as tough as it was for us 30 years ago, I think we got to concede that in some ways it's actually tougher for youngsters, the millennials, to actually start their lives financially these days. So yeah, that was just something on that. So I think that's another discussion, Mel. I think it's a really good discussion, but I think yeah, I think okay. I see there's some hands up. Russell, you put your hand up, and then Yondela.
Good morning, everyone. Mel, I know you outside this group. Always a pleasure to like hear of your experience. And like, if I can just say, like, Mel's like a machine when it comes to estate planning. She said some of her knowledge with me as well. But just to answer Mel's query about staff, so I can't really say much because I don't have as much staff as Mel or Dirk, but I have seen quite a few changes or trends that I see a lot, and I think it's not technically maybe millennials. I think it's what the generation after. And like Dirk said as well, you also have to take account like, yes, to a certain degree for the younger generation now, it's harder to kind of, you know, make a life with the finances they're earning now versus back then. But the big thing I see that's quite a pushback when it comes to like hiring staff, and I've been very fortunate with Monique, but what I've seen in like one or two other, not even financial plan practices, but attorney friends that have had issues with staff as well, is that in this day and age, you're also battling against instant gratification. You know, I think the older generation, and I'm in the millennial generation where we were born part of the older generation or had half, and then also were introduced to tech. So they're battling against, I would say, instant gratification, and whereas like a lot of our mentality is like the long term, you know, working for a good number of years to, you know, achieve certain milestones in your career. But one of the other things I saw with when we spoke to another attorney that had issues also with their staff was that I think you have to also kind of gauge two things they found out was like you have to gauge when you have that first meeting, kind of give them like a, I wouldn't say a test, but like a trial out for like new potential candidates of like what do they see this position as? Is it just to pay a salary, or is it a stepping stone, or do they see something more to it? You know, or where do they see themselves in this industry or profession? And then secondly, I guess it's like another thing that the attorney friend of mine mentioned that they wish they should have done is that and I'm not sure if it's already done already, but like always ask for references, but then phone those references of the candidates and ask, okay, like what work they actually did within your firm, because they fired another candidate recently that they hired because on this candidate CV looked amazing, cum laude, law, everything, 6 to 8 years attorney or legal experience, admitted attorney. And then when they hired this candidate for the first 6 months, this person like struggled so much to do like a lot of the practical competencies that they promised within their CV or resume. And then what they found out was that when they did go back to one of the references, they found out that basically this person mainly did the admin, but didn't do the practical side that they promised within their CV. So I think what they were trying to actually tell me was like, it's also very important. It's easy for someone to say, I've worked X amount of number of years in the law, accounting, or financial service industry. But then we should be asking like, okay, but like what type of work did you do? Because they might say, yeah, I have experience doing financial planning and working with clients. And meanwhile, they've only done like basic admin. So that was one thing that we picked up from our peers and our friends that are attorneys as well. But I think it's more so I see a lot of like, it's probably instant gratification is what we battling a lot. And also what they want, see your job as like, is it a stepping stone or do they see something long term?
Thanks, Russell. I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree, a lot are going to disagree. I'm learning to be like quite open to all this stuff. I think the reality is that when we start our careers, we have an idea of what it's going to look like, of what it should look like, and then as we go, I mean, I've been doing this over 30 years. I can tell you that it does change, and even after 30 years, it's changed again because of situations changing, opportunities, whatever. So I think that the difficulty is twofold. It's number one, let's say someone like myself trying to have good talents in the team, and then at the same time, creating a realistic career option for someone as well, because very often, unless you're in a corporate, in a smaller business, the potential of that career is dependent on the very person who wants that career certainty as well. It's not just dependent on the owner of the business. It's because of the team. So once you become more than 2 or 3 people in the business, then the team determines where the business goes. It's not going to be because of one person. So it's kind of the moving parts, I think, and I think that is where a lot of the difficulty lies. Yondela, you had your hand up.
Oh yeah. So you even asked about like epic fails, Dirk. So I've got a lot of epic fails trying to source clients. I initially thought LinkedIn was a space where you can attract clients and attract people, only to realize LinkedIn is just I've only got other financial planners there, and all the people commenting there are people already in financial services. But I have found that there's a lot of traction maybe on like other social media platforms like TikTok. I think if you got your strategy right there, it would be easier to get clients. And I mean, I've tried everything. So there's a program on LinkedIn called Data Nice that you can actually connect, and you can search companies, and you'd get people's cell phone numbers, and you'd get their email addresses. I've called. And I think for me, what's tough is it's just so hard to like figure it out, because so I'm young. People say, "Hi, you're too young. I can't trust you." And then and I mean, I've really enjoyed how candid people are with their money, because I don't want I don't want people to work with me just because like I'm a loudmouth or I seem like I'm smart. So it's like been very tough for me trying to like get clients. But sometimes I think the only way I've really gotten really good clients, like Mel said, is like through like really good referrals. And so I've been trying to be intentional about telling my clients that if you've truly had a really good experience with me, please, share my services with people. And that used to be tough for me in the beginning, but over time, I've seen, value in what I do, and I take myself really seriously. And therefore, when I say to people, hey, listen, so I mean, I encourage you to share with 1 or 2 of your friends, and 8 out of 10 times I do get like another referral. But I think it's tough, man, Dirk. I mean, it's you eat what you kill, and in the beginning stages. So for example, I've got about 3 staff members, and it's if I don't kill anything, they don't eat, and I have to take from my pocket to pay them, you know. And it's gotten to a stage where I've really thought about going back to corporate, because where I'm currently at, it's just there's just so much red tape. I can't do things that I want to do. My clients want me to pay. My clients want to pay consultation fees, but you know the body in which I'm in won't, you know, do that. So which means I have to at some point like rush a sale sometimes, where I'm not having a really good conversation with the client, and I'm caught between, you know, doing what's good for my family and, you know, making sure I also make money as a, you know. So I think that has been the biggest conundrum that I've been facing is, you know, doing best for who, you know. And so I've stopped seeing a lot of clients who are taking too much of my time, and now, you know, I'm trying to kill, you know, bigger elephants and whales. But it's just tough. I mean, I don't know how people do it. Mel said she's never sourced a client, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, hey, this is what white privilege looks like, you know, and I was like, so because I don't know, I've tried, you know, but yeah.
Yandela. Hi, Paul.
Yes.
Can I just talk? Who do you work for?
So I work for Arika Blue Star. So it's a Blue Star under Sanlam that I started with a friend of mine.
So can I just, sorry, I know I'm just like jumping in here, but there's nothing about white privilege. I think in my own mind, I would rather die than phone somebody and ask them if they want to come and see me, or I've got a complete block against that. And I don't know why you've got 3 staff members, because maybe you don't need 3, maybe you just need 1, and start getting your own ducks in a row and get your own house in order before you actually like move on. Secondly, there's so many ways to skin a cat or an elephant, if you want to skin an elephant, but there's so many ways to get business, you know, and I think you obviously have got targets, am I right? That you have to reach.
Daily target. I've got daily targets.
Yeah. Okay, how old are you? Because I can't see you.
I am 34 or 35, I'm not sure.
So is there a reason why your camera's off? So we can't see your face? So
Yes.
wow.
I don't know. I'm not in a safe space.
Okay, so what I wanted to say to you is, you know what the comment you made about being young. I've got a dentist who I went to see, and he's very old, and he's got a very young dentist in there. And my dentist couldn't see me, so they said the young guy can see me. And when I sat down in the chair, I said to this young guy, I said, you are so young. What do you possibly know? How much experience have you got? And he started laughing. And the thing is, he's a professional, he's qualified, and I'm actually stayed with him because his thinking and his viewpoints are so much more different than the older guy. You know, he's got different ideas. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Greetings.
So don't ever undermine yourself because you're younger. Yeah, I think our younger crowd that are coming through, planners that are coming through, I think they've got the most wonderful ideas. They've got different thinking. They've got fresh thinking. You know, us that have been in the industry for a long time, I think we can be a bit tainted with our old style thinking, and it's even harder for us. Well, I'm speaking for myself. It's harder for me to keep up. Like with everything, because I think as you get older, your brain, I don't know, something happens to your brain. I don't know what it is. Where the younger guys coming through, I think they are just fresh. And I mean, I love my dentist. He could be my son. He's 28. My daughter's 28. So, yeah, I always laugh at him because he could be literally my son. But you know what? I went to see 2 or 3 dentists also for something, and he's the only one that's come up with a new age thing that's happening that he knows about that my other 2 guys didn't know about. So don't ever undermine yourself. And there's so many ways to skin a cat. You've just got to find that sweet spot, that sweet, like what is going to attract you to, I mean, something else that I've been finding just recently, there's so much talk about generational wealth. Like it's, I'm so over it. It's so saturated. It's all of this. But I've just been finding, like, some clients that I'm working with, I'm actually starting with the end in mind. I'm saying to them, let's work backwards. What do you want to do? What is the legacy you want to leave behind? You know, so and they're like, but nobody's asked me that. You know, that's important. You know, let's structure it this way because this is the legacy I want to leave behind. So you've just got to find, like, different ways to work and maybe find a business coach rather than have 3 staff members. Find a business coach that can work with you and give you marketing ideas and give you ideas to go out and market. I tell you, LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn, but honestly, LinkedIn for me is like the biggest recruitment agency in the world. Like, I'm so over people messaging me and asking me for a job or wanting to sell me their product, and I promise you, I just don't even answer them. So I don't know if anybody's been successful with LinkedIn with clients, but there's other ways. You know, Facebook is a good way. Instagram is a good way from a social media point of view. I get a lot of clients from those two. Your local magazine, do an article, but not on a product. I mean, my article that I did now recently on financial abuse in the Get It magazine, I've got so many clients that have been lining up, like, to see me just because of that article. But you've got to find something different to give these people. You have to find something different. You cannot go in anymore with a product. They can go online and buy a product. You have to think differently, completely.
Yeah, Mel, can I just?
Sorry.
No, you're perfect. I think you got some really great ideas there. I want to disagree with you, however. We have experienced white privilege, in my view. Okay, simply because in the society I've grown up in, most of the people we've come in contact with have had a proper education, have had the privilege of tertiary education, have got jobs fairly easily. I think compared to the black folk within SA, which is the majority. So, but Jondela, what I want to say to you is, and guys, you know, I can say what I want because I started this group, but, like, you know, like, fuck white privilege. I mean, is that going to stop you from doing what you want to do? You know, and that I'm not discounting that it is something. I think it is, but do what you do in any case. I mean, you know, because if you're going to let that be your stumbling block, just say, okay, there it is. I see it. Like, how do I go past this? You know, so I think you can use it as a positive or a negative. I would agree that definitely there is white privilege, but are we going to sit and have that discussion, or are we going to get on with what we want to do, both in our personal lives and for the people that we want to serve? When you're starting your career, you know, I've got such an issue with all these experts on LinkedIn, and I agree, I don't think it's a great place to find clients who are telling us all how to do our jobs, but they've never done what we do, and they don't earn their living doing what we're doing. Academics. I worked with academic. It's very prominent on LinkedIn. Let me tell you, it cost me a fortune. I learned nothing, just a big check, okay? Because theory means nothing. I got an issue. I was at the FPI conference, the Little Rancher, and they asked for comments, and I gave them comments, and and guys, I just speak openly. Like, B is a big thing, and it is something we need to focus on. And then focus on the youth is a big thing. And I said to them, this focus on the youth it's completely gone over the top. You know, the guy who gets the highest marks in estate planning or investment management, you know, they get all on stage and all this, and they're not celebrating the people who've been in this industry for a lot longer, who have been through all these tough times. Because you can hire that guy who got 105% in the estate planning thing, but when he comes practically and you put him into a situation, he can't do anything. So yes, knowledge is really important, But let me tell you, after 30 years, like you can't know everything. You can't be an expert at everything. And that's why you work with people who are experts. Like Mel said, we work with accountants, we work with lawyers. We got to understand where our own personal inner strength is, and we got to think like, how can we use that? Because if we can be authentic in that way, we're going to attract people who are attracted to that persona who we are. And when you're starting off, you got to eat what you kill. So all these people on LinkedIn telling you to find niches and all that, whatever. Let me tell you, it's you can get a niche once you're my age, and I'm living in St. Francis Bay, and most of the people here are retired. It's a very convenient niche for me to live in. Okay, so I found my niche. It's taken me 30 years, but when you're starting off your career, if you are selling someone life cover or income protector and you're doing it correctly, when you met that person, they didn't have that benefit. And if something happens tomorrow after you've put that into that product, them or their family's taken care of, you've done a good thing. If you've had to rush the sale every now and then, forgive yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. This business is really, really tough to start in. It is much easier, having a qualification and then coming into a corporate business, not like Sanlam or Old Mutual Field Division, like a corporate financial planning business where there are clients and you get paid a salary and all of that. But not everyone has that privilege, unfortunately. And I think over time the industry is changing to make more of those kind of positions available. But with all these stumbling blocks in your way, you've just got to believe in yourself, and you've got to go for it. I mean, you can go back to the corporate world, and then you're somebody's slave, and you are going to clash with people in the corporate world. I think you know that yourself. So
That's why I left.
Exactly. Okay. Sorry, Russell, I see you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to add some points to each of the topics that you guys were mentioning. So, I think with all of us, pretty much, we all have different circumstances and our own challenges. And what I also picked up from another podcast is you can only control what's within your realm of control. Anything outside of that you can't really control. So, do what you can, and pretty much as well, like when it comes to trying to, I think, find clients or the way you're doing things, I've always followed also the mantra of like what is, and this is also leading to Mao's point about you've got to offer something different, is like like asking what is the general expectation when a client meets me, and generally, not saying it's all bad, but most clients expect, okay, he's going to talk product or policy within the first meeting or the first session. And what I've gathered from like most of us here and like Mel, for instance, we don't even go near that. We go focus on the person, but then also other things like having a process. Especially 9 times out of 10, what I've realized or picked up within the industry is that think about the general experience most clients have, right? An advisor phones them. Oh, I want to offer you a free financial needs analysis, which is basically in most cases, with all due respect, it's an excuse to pull their astute and then say, okay, what policies or products can I sell you that's better, right? The client has a meeting with the advisor. 9 times out of 10, it becomes a product talk within that first meeting, not even understand the client. The advisor then closes off the meeting within like maybe three meetings, maybe 4 if it's a client that takes a little bit longer, but they won't really spend too much time on the client. Close the sale, and then the client doesn't generally see the advisor again. And this is what we've seen from clients that have come to us from, bad experiences. And that's where we've seen, clients have that experience of like, oh, my advisor or my ex-advisor, he just sold me a product and I never saw them again. So it feeds their perception that advisors are just out there to make commission or salesmen, and then they don't see them again. Now, you take that negative perception and you say, okay, how can I do it better? First step would be like, okay, you have a meeting, you focus all on the client, getting to know. We're not even talking product. Then you go into transparency becomes one of your biggest points. You showcase them. This is what it's going to be like working with me within the first 6 to 12 months. And we've started incorporating more of that because we've just redesigned and rebuilt our advice process actually. Because a client doesn't know what they're getting out of experience or working with an advisor. They think they're just going to be sold products. But if you show them this is what your roadmap's going to be like, what are we going to be doing within the first 6 months, a year, or 12 months, and like thereafter, it's giving the client certainty of like what to expect. And that also brings more value because they know what they're getting out of it. They're getting a partnership before you even talk to them about product. So we find like if you do something like that, that already changes the perception of or the experience that the client has compared to what they usually experience. And then what we also just use another example is like, it's for younger people in this profession. It's obviously tough to make it, and you have to put in a lot of years. But like what we do have access to now, versus when people like Dirk, when you were our age, was that basically we have access to a lot of tech that is free and usable. So a simple example that like we have been using in our practice, and here's another way is take ChatGPT and you put in a prompt. What is the 10 negative perceptions or experiences or expectations that clients in the South African consumer market are going to expect when they meet with an advisor? Or what is the 10 pet peeves that clients have with financial advisors? ChatGPT will then take from data, give you the 10 worst things or the top 10 worst things that people are experiencing. And that's where you can start by flipping around of like, okay, if I choose to, not even all of them, just the first 3 better. That could basically be your attraction point when it comes to like offering that to clients. And they see, oh, you different than the Tom, Dick, and Harry advisor that I've seen down the road. So I think the benefit we have is like we have access to more technology now that can help us work smarter, not just harder,
Thanks, Russell. Yeah, sorry, just to my rant about the youth. The point I was trying to get to is I think there's too much of kind of the youth want too much, and then us older guys aren't accommodating enough. I think that's just a discussion that's not going to win anyone. I think the reality is that this industry is extremely new. Proper financial planning businesses is new. This is the first generation. Before they were brokerages, what did they do? They sold a lot of life policies, they sold RAs, and they were all commission based. This whole fee thing, whether it's AUM or flat fee or whatever, this is really, really new. We are like first generation, and this concept of handing over a business, I'd rather call it a business than a practice, of handing over a business to people who are younger. It's really, really new. And the only people who have shown us how to do this are the asset managers, which is the life companies who know everything, they'd like us to believe, because all they're interested in is the assets. They're not interested in the people. And let's just be honest, we understand why, because anything that any asset manager or life company focuses on is assets under management, because that is how they make their money, and then some on risk products. So we've got to understand that this thing is really new. And we go to conferences and we're listening to people who've never done what we do, and they're telling us, how to do this succession planning. And then if it's such a great idea, you go to the bank and the bank says, no, I'm not going to lend you money for that. Why? Simply because they don't believe it. They don't believe it. So I think the challenge for us is really still out there as to how the succession works in a way that is fair and works for everybody. But the only way it's going to happen is if the older guys like myself get together with the younger guys and just really try and find something that is really, really going to work. And we both have to concede that we both have premeditated ideas that we perhaps need to review. So I'll just put that out there. Mel.
Can I end off with a really nice story? And maybe it can just motivate Yandela. So Yandela, earlier I said that I run workshops. So in February, some of my workshops are charged for. Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I've got a dog that comes in and In February, I did a workshop. It was also a pro bono workshop to some Black teachers, and they brought some of their matrics with, and some, a few businesswomen. It was probably about 30. And for those of you with the FPI, I think you all know that you can use their material to run their workshops. They'll give you books, and they give you the actual presentation, etc., that you can actually go out and so you've got material to use. You're not allowed to charge for it, but I've got my own presentation that I use. But from that workshop, I mean, I was actually in tears, because I had a young lady come to me. She was in matric, and she said to me that she doesn't, she earns a grant, she earns a grant, and what she's going to do is she's going to start budgeting with her grant. And I mean, I had another young guy come to me, and he just basically said, like, he feels like I've changed his life, because he's just looking at money differently now. And I also tell them my story. But the high tea that I did on Saturday was to a group of Black women and Black businesswomen, and the mom of the child that was there in February, she was there on Saturday. She came up to me and she said to me that her daughter, from the grant that she gets, has been budgeting with her grants. And she's been, for those of you who are Christians, I teach them how to tithe and teach them about tithing. And she's been tithing 10%. She gives away 10%. And her mom said since February, her child has not even asked her for 1 single cent. She's been using her money that she's been saving, and she's been budgeting. And, I think if you can, just from a workshop like that, it was pro bono, I didn't charge for it, but you know that story about changing a starfish one at a time. If you can change people are like sponges out there. They want help with their money. They don't get taught these things at school. And Yandela, you're in a position. I mean, you are a Black man. I mean, I can't even speak the language. And listen, I laugh at them. We have such fun and jokes and that. I mean, half of them are always like, "Oh, I want a picture with this white woman," And I mean, you literally could go and take FPI's books and that, and go and have a workshop at a school, to all the matrics, or offer it to their parents. And I mean, it's costing you not 1 single cent, it's costing you time, but you're getting your name out there. And I think that's important. And I mean, I've got so many Black women that I connect with from a business point of view. I mean, one's actually approached me now to do all their training, and they get paid per person. And, so I'm giving them my fee per person. You know what? The opportunities come, but you've got to put yourself out there, and you have to give sometimes without receiving. But as I said, Yandela, I'm happy to like even have a conversation with you and give you some ideas and all of that. And they're not from any special marketing book or anything like that. It's just things that I've learned along the way that have helped me. So yeah, but you know what? So I agree with Dirk about the white privilege crap. I run one exercise that I do is a timeline exercise, and even on Saturday, we were literally like, I mean, I gave them my story, and I mean, I said, you know what, white privilege, I lived in apartheid, I didn't even understand it, but I don't want to be crucified for it. And, we've got to put the past behind us and move forward. We can do this thing together. We've got to empower each other. So that's just my last ending story.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks. Great conversation, guys. Andre, sorry, I asked you a question and then I didn't give you a chance to reply. And I know, Andre, I'm picking on you because I know you've also been in this for a while, and I know through our history that you've had a few challenges as well. So I was wondering if there's anything you'd like to share.
Yeah, Dirk. The one thing I would say is that I keep doing, that I say I won't do, and that's not a good thing to do, is to try and do everything for everyone, and end up getting caught in doing a lot of work for no income, basically. Not necessarily none, but like you need to focus on the correct things to do. rather than try and fix everyone's problems. It sometimes actually causes you to lose clients because you try and help them with something and you tell them it's something that's not going to be able to get done, but we'll try. And then if it doesn't work, then, oh, but you said, I said, no, we could try, but then it doesn't work out.
So good.
Yeah, I think we can all fall into that trap. And I think especially when we're starting out and we have a bit of knowledge, we're really eager to, and we want to help people. So it's very difficult to tailor that. But I think you do kind of learn, as you mature, that you obviously can't help. And I think the way that helped me understand and kind of soften the blow when someone didn't then want to work with me, I kind of position it as not that they don't want to work with Dirk, it's just that they're not ready for what we have. I mean, there are clients where you will talk to them over a period of time, and then one day, I've had it now, this week, client just phones me, this is crazy. He says, right, let's do this, we're doing this, we're doing that, 420 grand a month investments. Can we start them, please? I mean, that's like, okay, I think we can do that, yeah. But we've been talking to this person for 18 months. And we've done little pieces and little bits on that as well. But I think you do kind of learn over time, when to just walk away, and then also not to take it personally. I think that's quite important. And then also a big thing, which is a privilege, which you don't have when you start out, is also then choosing, who you do want to work with. But yeah. Anyone else want to add anything?
Just maybe the thing of being young.
How young are you, Ben?
So I was just saying, when you're young, I remember I met a client, and I was also, suffered from this, I guess, imposter syndrome of being too young, and you kind of just worried about things. And I remember a client coming to me and saying, actually, I want to work with you because the old guy that I've got is going to probably die before me. So at least now I know you got a long life ahead of you. And, if I die or when I die, then you're still going to be around to take care of the plans and the things that are, that we set up and we're planning for, and you'll look after my family. So that was a massive mindset thing that changed for me as well. So I think, this thing of being young, it's a thing that we put on ourselves, and it's our own thing that I think we got to just change our own mindsets and just go in with a different mindset, and just a lot of it is mindset, and it's very difficult, but we just got to work on our mindsets.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I mean, you're so right, and I keep saying that's what this group is about. I don't expect you got to reach out to me, but there are a lot of there's always someone your age that you can reach out to. And I think the biggest challenge a lot of us have is that imposter syndrome, Cindy, you got your hand up.
So yeah, so much amazing stuff has been said. But the one thing that I'm finding, I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, probably 7 to 8 of those have been really trying to do it this lifestyle client first way. And I think really understanding and identifying what you're doing here. What am I doing this for? What is the purpose behind it? I think purpose is so important. We try and work with purpose for our clients. And then I think once you understand your purpose, you can really work in passion. You're doing it for all the right reasons. You're coming to work for the right reasons. And this is something that I've taken a really long time to settle in, is to be, and I think I've always been very authentic, but I'm feeling confident now in saying, this is who Cindy is. This is like, I wear jeans every day. I don't have to wear the little Investec corporate little outfits. This is who I am. I speak like this to my clients. I don't use fancy words. I've got the fancy words. It's not who I am. So I'm very authentic to who I am. And I think I attract the type of people that need that. And
you guys will attract the type of people, you know, who you can work really well with. So the one thing that I've been trying to do since the start, and I had massive imposter syndrome because I literally landed in this job. I was helping my uncle randomly. I was a stay-at-home mom. And then I fell in love with it, and one thing led to another, and then he died. So literally I then had to rape my investments, my retirement savings to purchase the shares from his wife. And I was like, what am I doing here? It just felt so, everything about it just felt so wrong. Yet I knew it was something I was really passionate about. I believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. It's an amazing feeling to know. And then imposter syndrome finally has left, but I'm continuing to do the right thing every single day. It doesn't matter about how much I struggle with charging. I'm getting better, but it doesn't matter about whether I'm selling products or not. I don't. I can sell, but I hate selling. I don't believe that this is a sales game. It's really working with someone's life. So one foot in front of the other, build the basics well, keep doing what is right, and the rest will follow. And I'm still trusting. And I've actually only recently made this decision to just relax and stop worrying about the future already, because I'm quite good at worrying about the future, which is really a very silly exercise because you can't change anything by worrying. But just trusting that what I'm doing, the process that I've built, and I'm continually learning. I think you've got to continually learn. We've spoken about this before. I'm continually taking what I'm learning and trying it out. And it's impressing the clients. And just recently, I've got new clients. I've got clients who've retired and come in with an extra X amount. I think if we build the foundations properly and we know what the purpose is, the future will follow. And I think it'll be a good future because it's authentic. I think authenticity is really important.
Very good.
Thanks, Cindy. You know, yeah, and I mean, I agree with everything you say. And I think for the newer people, the people who are starting out on the group, you will get to this place. You know, you will get there, and then, you know, hopefully one day you're going to be helping people like the older guys can help the youngsters. But you'll get there. You just got to persevere, and you've just got to believe in yourself. Yeah, but it takes time. And again, just reach out to people on the group. Peter, Brian, you guys have been very quiet. Peter de Villiers, Brian Nickel.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I can share as well. My experience entering the industry, it's been just over a year now. It's been quite challenging from going into the independent space day one and having to learn everything, gravitating from another career. But I guess what I've learned is that if you do it for the right reasons and you just stick long enough with your values and the conversations you have and the way that you approach financial planning, if you have those fundamentals in place, the business will grow. I think what helped in my case was I had a bit of a social media following that I built up where most of my clients are coming from. And now I'm at a point where my business is now growing from referrals. So yeah, it's tough. It's a very tough industry. It's probably more tougher than I thought it's going to be. But I do think the end goal in mind of changing people's lives for the better, as long as you keep that as your core, then the business will develop from there onwards. So keeping true to yourself, sometimes it does mean you can't work with everyone, and that's something you have to accept. But from a sourcing client's point of view, I found that social media does help a lot. And also, again, I agree, don't focus on products and trying to sell stuff. Focus on creating good content that you help them for their best interest, and they will follow. That's just how the world works. But yeah, it's a continuous learning experience. I'm very fortunate to be part of this group to learn from the other giants in the industry. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this will evolve to a profession, because that's how I do view it, and that's how I want my clients to view it every day.
Thanks, Peter. Brian?
Yeah, just to latch on to what Peter and Mel said, Mel talked about understand what we're about and what we offer that maybe is different. I have referred, I think recently, a client to Mel, who I did not, I could not work with. She had financial trauma. They had some issues to go through, and willing to part with thousands a month, company sponsored to get assistance. And it was just not something I was skilled for, but I knew of Mel, and I knew Mel was right up her alley, and she offered that. I've also had in the last year 4 clients referred to me by other advisors who can't maybe do what I do or don't feel it's up their alley. So I suppose just trying to be maybe a bit different or offer something that's a bit different, but it's something that must be sincere and genuine and true to yourself, as opposed to something that we put on and fake. But I think maybe just before I log off, I'll say something controversial and then I'll run away so I don't hear the backlash. But I think that what we do, I know it's very difficult, but I don't think it's for everyone. I don't even know if what we do as lifestyle financial planners is for everyone on this call. And I think this is probably part of finding out if it is. If you play this game, you're going to have to probably do certain things. And I think the first thing I think is to be as flippant, knowledgeable as possible to really be sharp. No, they don't have to be an A candidate, but I think you really need to be really useful for clients. Then the second thing is that we must try and divorce ourselves from being product-led, which is extremely difficult because if we do come with 10 or 15 years of baggage, it's going to be difficult to do that. That's not for everyone. And I think it might be easier for some people to carve an existence out of another industry or the product side and to work that way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I think what's maybe valuable is for people to try to understand where they fit in. And I know that a lot of people want to do something a certain way, but I also know that it's not just necessarily for everyone. So that's not necessarily promoting membership of this group, but at the same time, I think we need to decide what we are actually trying to accomplish. Are we trying to accomplish, making fundamental differences to people's lives at an individual level, or to who are our clients, or is our mission to grow a large business to make a change to 50 staff members' lives, and thereby that is our contribution to society? That might be a different business model. It might be one which is product-led, and I think that is awesome. I refer to brokers all the time, and I think all of us on this call have an insurance product. I would venture a fraction of us have a financial plan. So there's more use for people who are not lifestyle financial planners out in the world than there are for people who are. And so I think it's to understand if that is actually what we're trying to accomplish. And if it is, be as bloody good as you can in that area and be as valuable to people as possible. And if it's not, then focus on running an amazing brokerage and business. I think it's going to be very difficult to try and do something that you're kind of interested in, but you can't really commit to fully, because this, I've come to find, needs every single second of your life, and it needs every single ounce of me to run this business and to try and be as valuable. It is so draining to deal with people on this level, and I don't think it's for everyone. So that's just a bit of a maybe
Go, Brian.
but at the same time, it's.
I think you're right, Brian. I think you're so right. And I mean, like, you and I are probably complete opposites. I know when I told you my Gallup strengths thing, you said, of course. And I think that's what makes this so interesting, is because the clients we deal with, potential clients, are different. There's lots of Brians, there's Dirks, there's Russells, there's Melses. Everyone's out there, And again, on that Botswana trip, I always read, and I read this book, which is really good. So I'll put it in the notes. But it's called The Advisor Transformation. But what really, and I've heard it so many times, but what really stuck with me is they're talking about like building a business and growing a business. But he says there are 3 types of advisors. There's the person who goes and who's very good at getting the business. So, you're well connected, you're naturally that way inclined, you go to the golf club and everyone just likes you and wants to deal with you. And then you've got the person who's really good at just managing a relationship, just dealing with a client on a day-to-day basis and all of that. And then you've got the more analytical person who loves to build plans. They like doing research, but they don't necessarily want to sit in front of a client. And what they do is, the advisors, that you build a team that has all 3 of those in. All 3 of those roles are equally as important because they create the team. So I'll put the book in there. But the point is that I think we have to accept, you're quite right, Brian, that we have a natural inclination towards being one of those three people. And again, this industry is new. This profession that we're doing is new, especially lifestyle planning. And traditionally, it's been the great salesmen who have been deemed really good at what they do and who have made all the money. I mean, I saw a note today, one of the big guys in the industry, he hit 5 billion under management recently. I mean, that's an achievement, and you're quite right. Whether he's a great salesman or, you know, I know he's an honest chap. He's a good guy. Russell, you know who I'm talking about. But he'll run a very different business to what we may run. But 5 billions, it's a big number, you know. And he's obviously helped a lot of people over that time. But I think identifying where we fit in and not fighting that, because, you know, you need, if you're going to survive in this long term, you've got to be authentic. And I think the challenge in the profession is, how do we build businesses where all three of those planners are actually understood to be equals in that partnership? Because we still see the person who goes and gets the business and who brings the business in and that's in every single industry, I think, that is out there. You know, the guy who brings in the clients, he gets paid the most. And that's just a challenge, I think, that we need to deal with. So yeah, but thanks, Brian. I think it was a very good point. Anyone else have any last words? Guys, I think it's been a good discussion. As I said, I sometimes battle to get inspiration to come up with a topic that we haven't discussed before. I think the beauty of the group is that it doesn't matter if we talk about the same stuff, because it's always relevant, and there's always someone who's got something to give, and there's always someone who's battling with something. And that's really what this is all about. But if you guys have any ideas, you know, for the next couple of sessions, please just drop me a line. And as I say, yeah, I mean, we can talk about anything. But thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dirk. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Dirk.
Have an awesome week.
Yeah, all you guys
Thanks,
do.
everyone. Good luck.
Bye.
Cheers, Ed.
Bye.
Bye.